Hey guys, it's Cody from Adapt here again, and this week's video is all about how and why to work out in season. So this is a really common topic that we need to talk about this time of year. A lot of spring athletes like lacrosse players, baseball players really are trying to struggle with how should they continue to work out and take those gains that they've made during the off season and have them best carry them over into the season, because I get it, people are so busy. Some kids are playing on 2-3 different teams, driving around to different practices and different games. That can be hard to work out during the season, right? So it's definitely unrealistic to expect people to train 3-4 days a week just like they did during the off season. However, I really do urge you to continue to train during the season, and I want to explain why, and then I'll also show you how you can do it so you can spend as little time in the gym as possible during the season, but you can still reap all the benefits and stay healthy on the field where it counts. So first I want to go over why you should be strength training during the season. So if you stop working out, you're actually going to lose a lot of the progress and a lot of gains that you've made. There's something called reversibility, which all that means is that if you don't give your body a reason to keep that progress, it's going to lose it. So if you stop training and you stop lifting and you stop sprinting, right, all that power that you've made, all that progress you made is actually going to lose. So it usually takes about 4 weeks to kind of lose any amount of progress you've made, depending on how long it took you to get it and all that. But all that means is if you stop training once your season starts, right, by the time you get to like mid-season or end of the season, you're actually going to be no better off than before you started training. So that's that critical period at the end of the season where it really matters if you got playoffs or something like that, right? And if you want to really feel your fastest and your freshest and your strongest during that period, you really owe it to yourself to continue training. And again, I'm going to explain how you should do it, but it doesn't mean you have to train as much as you were during the off season, but you just have to do enough to give your body a reason to hold on to those strength gains, okay? So the second reason is that strength training is actually the #1 best way to stay healthy during the season. There's a ton of research on this, and I've also seen a lot of anecdotal evidence of this, but athletes who strength train during the season just don't get hurt. There's this great quote that I love that means, what it is your best ability is your availability. And all that means is that you could be the best athlete in the world, but if you're constantly getting hurt, you're in the sideline, you're not able to help your team. So think about strength training during the season as a way to kind of keep you healthy so that you can showcase all your talents end of the season when it matters, okay? The third reason is that you should be taking a long-term approach to your athletic development. So this is especially for athletes who are in that critical like 12-year-old to maybe like 16, 17-year-old age range, right? And remember, you're not just training for right now. If you're watching this and you're training, you're playing multiple sports or just one sport really competitively, you probably have your sights on playing at the next level and playing in college, right? So don't just think about, like being a little bit more prepared or having a little bit more time to devote to your sport this season. Take a long-term approach to it, right? Set some goals that are kind of a few years down the road, and understand if you're only training during the off-season, you might only be able to train for 3-4 months out of the year, 6 at the very most, right? However, if you continue training during the in-season period, that's now 12 months of development per year. You get a full year, okay? If you do this for 4 years throughout college, you actually have 1 extra year of development under your belt than you would have compared with somebody who only trained during the off-season. So I think that's a really critical piece to focus on long-term development to be where you want to be by the time you get to college. We've kind of addressed why you should be training during the in-season period, and I hope that's made a strong impression on you. I want to explain how you should be training, okay, to get the most out of it in the least amount of time that you have to dedicate it to it. So the #1 is that I want you to focus on what you're not getting on the field. And what I mean by that is, right, you're getting a lot of things on the field that you might be training during the off-season period, but I don't necessarily think that you have to be training in season. For example, if you're a lacrosse player, soccer player, football player, you're running a lot, I don't think you need to do too much running or sprint work because you're getting a lot of that. You might have to do a little bit if you feel like you're not getting enough, but if you're sprinting during your game 2-3 days a week, you should be doing plenty to maintain your progress. Another one would be conditioning, right? If you're running all the time, conditioning, going pretty hard on the field, then I really wouldn't do too much conditioning in the weight room. However, if you're on the bench a little bit more, maybe you're coming back from an injury, that could definitely be a time where you could add in some lower intensity conditioning. But overall, focus on what you're not getting, which is probably strength training, okay? Using big range of motion, big muscles like squats and deadlifts where you're learning to produce force through your whole kinetic chain, okay? You're not getting that stuff on the field, so I really think you should focus on that. Also mobility work. When you get in the weight room, it's a great time to do that foam rolling, do all of that kind of mobility and activation work that you need to help keep you healthy. Because remember, I said the best ability is your availability. And the third thing is I want you to focus on how frequently or how often you're training. Most athletes out of season, they're going to train anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week, okay? You don't have to do as much during the season, okay? I would say focus on 1 at the very minimum. You can maintain progress on 1, so I would definitely do 1. 1 is better than nothing, okay? So go for 1 if you can. If you can make it 2, you can not only maintain progress, but you could probably still make some pretty good strength and speed gains and power gains during that in-season period if you're able to get 2, okay? The other thing that I would say, the last thing I want to add is I want you to focus more on intensity rather than volume, okay? Volume meaning like doing more sets, more reps. That's essentially how you kind of teach your body to get strong and give it a stimulus that has to adapt to. However, that's what makes you tired. So during the in-season period, you want your body to feel fresh. I would focus a little bit more on intensity. It means a little bit more weight on the bar with less reps, less sets, maybe jumping a little bit higher, right? But don't do as many sets, as many reps. I think you'll feel a lot better out on the field. You just have to do enough to maintain progress, so you don't need a lot of volume to do that. So I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a little bit about why and how you should continue to work out during the in-season period. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, please just drop a line in the comments and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.